Well, joining us now direct from Kerala is Shashi Tharoor, the Minister of External Affairs and one of the most articulate members of this government. Thank you very much, Mr. Tharoor, for joining us. You know, this is a human tragedy, actually. The global economic crisis has virtually caused the Middle East to shut down. And many Indians are losing their jobs, being sent back, families are suffering. Can the government of India do anything to help these people in this time of crisis?
Well, I mean, the fact is we can't afford to be indifferent to this, because after all, when our workers went to these countries and did well and sent remittances home, we were only too happy to applaud them and to have the remittances and strengthen our balance of payments and our foreign exchange position and feel relieved that people were being supported by these funds. Now that things have gone bad, that they're having a rough time, we can't suddenly wash our hands of them. And yet it is true that these are individuals who have gone on their own steam and not through the government, that they're there on individual contracts with individual companies. Some, as you say, have lost their jobs. Some are not getting the wages they were initially promised. And I've heard some pretty sad stories of people who went quite recently, who actually mortgaged homes, gave up a lot of money, and so on, and who ended up, as a result, finding themselves worse off than before they went to the Middle East. So all of these are real human issues. At this stage, we don't have a specific scheme to protect returning Gulf expatriates. The Finance Minister did look into this. I myself wrote to him before the previous budget, suggesting that he give some consideration to the possibility of a special scheme, but this is not the right economic climate in which to advance such a proposition, and the Finance Minister was not able to do something in this budget. But he has said that of course we'll have to keep an eye on these people, and that within the existing provisions and existing schemes we may need to extend some help.
Well, that'd be reassuring for a lot of these people returning. But, you know, our correspondents in Kerala and Andhra are finding one of the major issues that people who return complain about is they're not getting enough help from the embassy staff in Dubai and other places. Will you ask your embassy staff to at least reach out to these Indian workers who are in distress right now?
I can assure you that they are very helpful, and they are instructed to be helpful. I myself have often been in touch with the ambassadors and the consul generals in these countries of the Gulf, and I know that they are trained to be very responsive to the Indian public. Having said that, there are very limited financial resources if the kind of help that is being sought is financial. If people have encountered serious financial difficulties, there is a limit to how much our government and our embassy can do for them. But other kinds of help, being responsive, intervening in cases of contractual disputes with employers, talking to the government of these countries in case there are any issues with the authorities, all of those things our embassy staff does do, and I will assure you that certainly as the minister responsible for that part of the world, I will be encouraging them to do more of that.
Well, I hope the embassy staff are listening to you, because we have had complaints, and you know, we can bring those to your attention if any, but let's hope what you're saying actually does happen. But now many workers in Dubai and the Middle East, maybe wrongly now looking in hindsight, have taken loans because things were booming in those days and now are unable to pay them back, because those loans back. Is there anything, you know, that the government can do, because they're sent to jail if they don't pay back their loans?
Obviously, when somebody goes to a foreign country, they are governed by the laws of that country. And there are again limits on how much we can do if the laws of that country or the country is concerned require them to jail people who are defaulting on debts. I'm not sure that we in India can get exceptions to those laws, but we can certainly speak to the authorities about some flexibility in the consideration of such cases, and some application, as it were, of compassion and of some, shall we say, more sympathetic attitude when it comes to looking at a sanction which in and of itself will not solve the problem.
It is a very serious problem. Is there any way you can reach out to these governments, talk to them and say, instead of sending them to jail, send them back to India if they can't pay their debts, and just some sensitivity to this problem?
Well, I will look into this, find out the nature and extent of the problem, and I assure you that when we look into these things, we do so sympathetically and with a view to trying to get the problem solved. But I can't make any commitments right now just like this on television.
But Shashi Tharoor, thanks very much. I'm sure that will be reassuring for a lot of people going through a terrible time in Dubai and the Middle East.
tuba.com.